Hello everyone. Welcome back to your very own channel, Geeks for Geeks. My name is Prakash Sakari, and today we have a very special person with us. His name is Shubham Londhe, and today basically we're going to discuss about DevOps. I think a lot of you might have heard this term DevOps, but what actually goes around DevOps and what is DevOps actually made up of? Because a lot of people just know that DevOps is development and operations, but under the hood, what actually DevOps is and what is a proper guide to learn DevOps, what are the right resources to learn DevOps, and uh, what are the tech stacks whenever we are doing DevOps, and what is the career scope? Is there a good career in learning DevOps? And let's say if I'm learning web development and I'm a front end developer or I'm a back end developer, so what are what are the things that I need to learn in order to become a DevOps engineer? So I think in this session, Shubham basically will go deep dive into telling us all about the things beyond DevOps and how to master DevOps. I'll also like to introduce to you and tell more about Shubham. So basically, Shubham is working as a senior backend engineer at Wamster, and he has more than 5 years of experience, and he has experience in Python, Django, Flask, Angular, and a lot of other frameworks and languages. And he has also been working all around AWS, because he is a DevOps engineer. So he basically has been working around Docker, AWS, and all of those things. You can ask your questions, ask your doubts about learning DevOps more effectively from Shubham. I think he is the best one to guide you. And there's also a lot of things that we at GeeksforGeeks are coming up with related to DevOps. We're coming up with a boot camp which will start one after 1 month. But in the meanwhile, we also have a free DevOps boot camp which you can register on. I'll share the link in the description, and I'll also share it after the course as well. So now I like to welcome Shubham. I think we have a lot of participants by now, and people are joining on. And I'll ask you all to share it with your friends and ask them also to join. So let's welcome Shubham. Hi, Shubham.
Hello. Hi, Prakash. How are you?
I'm good, Shubham. How are you?
I'm doing really good. Thank you so much for having me. It's really good to be on Geeks for Geeks.
Thank you so much for coming. I think this will be a very beneficial session for a lot of people. I think a lot of people have joined, and a lot of people will be joining. So over to you, Shubham.
Thank you so much. I can see there are people joining. We have 39 people live. If there is someone who knows me, please let me know in the chat. And if someone who does not know me, so this is Shubham Londhe. I run a YouTube channel called Train with Shubham, where I post videos related to DevOps, related to Python, related to automation, and most importantly, how you can get a job. So it's winter season. So, as we all say in Game of Thrones, winter is here. And so is winter interview preparation. So, what all things you need to know in order to prepare for those interviews, in order to get into DevOps, in order to become a DevOps engineer, in order to become a better, the best DevOps engineer? How you can do that? So, yes, we will be talking about it today. A lot of things will be happening. It will be an amazing session. I hope the excitement is high. If the excitement is high, there are 42 people watching us. I want everyone to comment boom in the chat. Let's get things started. I'll be sharing my screen. But before that, I want something from you in the chat. Let me know. I can see there are some people joining. Says Ashif, Rahul, Umang, Gaurav, Nageshwar is here. Superb. So we are now getting the booms. So yes, let's get started. Okay, amazing. So, okay, you all must be, hearing me for the first time. The ones who are hearing for me for the first time, they know that generally I don't speak in English. I generally, prefer Hindi more. But let's keep this in English. Let's see how exciting things become, even in English, even if it's in Hindi. Superb. So Gaurav Chaudhary says, Shandar, Zabardast, Zindabad. Kya baat hai. Let's get started. I'll be sharing my screen and I will be presenting to you the DevOps essentials. I hope you can see my screen. Once you are able to see my screen, just let me know in the chat. Just let me know in the chat if you are able to see my screen. Just let me know in the chat. Okay, superb. That was just okay, it's visible. That's amazing. Let's get started. So, yes, DevOps essentials. But before diving deep into DevOps essential, what basically is DevOps? How DevOps came into picture? What is DevOps? Why is DevOps? Everything about DevOps in this slide. So, what is DevOps? DevOps or development operations. It's basically a methodology, a practice which we do in the industry. In industry, we have applications, we have projects, we have so many things running on. But are there any processes which are followed? Are there any practices which are followed? Is there any methodology which makes sure that whatever that developer has built is correctly given to the audience, to the end user? Whatever the developer has built on his machine is working on the client machine. We generally have these kind of questions that, hey sir, this is working on my machine but is not working on my client machine. How do you fix it? Let me know in the comments. Train with Shubham community knows the answer. How do we fix it? So DevOps is that bridge between development and the operations. So DevOps, development operations. So as now you have an idea what is DevOps. Basically, it's a life cycle where you code, you build that code, you test that code, you deploy that code, you code, build, test, deploy, code, build, test, deploy. You can see this infinity loop. So this is a process, so that even if a developer codes something, it gets built in such a way that it is operational on any machine. It is tested in such a way that there are no errors, there is no breakage of code. It is deployed to cloud so that it is accessible to anyone. Anyone can scale up the infrastructure, the cloud, and they can access the services. Basically, if your app is accessible to 10 people, using DevOps, you can scale it to 10 million as well. That's one example of Hotstar which we see. So you must have seen during IPL, there are 25.5 million people watching live. How is that happening? That's all because of DevOps, the cloud infrastructure that is allowing Hotstar to scale that much. Now comes the question, why DevOps? Why DevOps engineering? Why should I become a DevOps engineer? Because the DevOps market will exceed $20 billion by 2026. This I'm not saying. This is a report which is basically predicted because of the usage of AWS, Azure, the cloud services, the contributions made to open source, Docker, Kubernetes. All these things are getting a lot of contributions, a lot of limelight, and that is getting used in the industry. The industry wants tools like Docker, Kubernetes, Terraform, and that is increasing the demand of DevOps engineers. So, why and what is clear? I hope it is clear. What is DevOps? I want everyone to write their definition of what is DevOps, which means whatever you think you have understood till now, just write it down. What is DevOps? Is it a methodology? Is it a tool? Is it a combination of tool? Is it a practice which we follow? Whatever you think, just write it down. Why we should be going into DevOps? Because the world needs it. The companies are scaling up. Everyone wants their app to reach a lot of audience. That's why we need DevOps. Now comes the question, how can I be, or how I can become a DevOps engineer? For that, let's get started and let's see how does the DevOps job market look like, and what are the career opportunities in DevOps. How many of you are excited about this slide? Just let me know in the chat how many of you are actually excited about this particular section. Let me know in the chat. Okay, so career opportunities in DevOps. There are different career opportunities. We have MNCs like Infosys, TCS, Wipro, so many things. Cognizant, Accenture. They are hiring a lot of DevOps engineers. We have small and mid-sized startups, which basically are basically no the people who start their company from their garages and then get funding, get bootstrapped, and then they scale up their startup. They all need infrastructure, they all need processes, they all need scalability, they all need build automation, they all need monitoring, because their apps needs to be monitored, their app needs to be scaled, they need an infrastructure. So there is a lot of requirements of DevOps engineer. There are a lot of career opportunities for DevOps engineers. Let's talk about MNCs first, because who doesn't like an MNC? Who doesn't like a TCS wali job, chill marne wali, something like that? Who doesn't like that? So pros and cons. Let's talk about MNCs. There's a lot of job security and stability in an MNC. Comparatively is less hectic, because there are rolling, the changes are after 6 months, 1 year, there's a process which they follow, so there is job stability and security, majjani life. But unfortunately, there are less opportunities for freshers, because MNCs require a lot of experience. MNCs require a lot of referrals. So that is one thing you should be noting down in your book. I hope you all have a book and a pen, because you need these notes. You need referrals in order to get into such MNCs. You need to pass a lot of HR rounds, a lot of connections in order to go through these MNCs. And unfortunately, they have older technologies. Comparatively, they have older technologies. Let's say if someone is using Terraform in a startup, now MNCs would be using on premise or some kind of infrastructure which they have on their own. So that way they have a bit older technologies. But now let's talk about the amazing things in the room, the startups. So I myself was working in a startup. I have always been working in a startup. I never went to any MNCs, no TCS, no Infosys, nothing. My first company was a startup. Second company was a service based startup. Third company was again a startup. So I have been working in startups, and that's why I'm able to tell you that yes, they are best for freshers. Why? Because in 2018, I got to know what is Docker. 2018, I was basically working on AWS cloud. 2018, I was deploying my Django applications on AWS. Imagine 2018, when DevOps was not even a word. We basically are getting the buzzword of DevOps in 2021-22. In 2018, we called it, just operations. We just called it operations. And obviously, if it's a funded startup, you get a good salary package, you get good growth, you have amazing things which you can do in that startup. So many vacations, fun activity, remote jobs, so many things. Yes, it comes with long working hours, high risk, but obviously high return. So yeah, there are a lot of career opportunities in DevOps. But now, DevOps wale bhaiya, how will I get these career opportunities? What are the essential tools that I need to focus right now in order to get these opportunities? So yeah, everyone should have an ideal timeline, okay, a roadmap in order to get there, in order to become a DevOps engineer. So yeah, if you ask me, you can become a DevOps engineer in 3 months. Obviously, it can take 1 year as well, 10 years as well. But if you give yourself 3 dedicated months, you can become a DevOps engineer. You need to understand the basics of DevOps first. Which are the basic tools? Is it Linux? Is it GitHub? Is it Docker? You need to understand the basics first. So get your basics correct in the first month. Then move to month two, where you go into the advanced side of DevOps. Advanced DevOps, where basically you're learning a lot of new tools: Terraform, Grafana, Prometheus, Kubernetes, so many new tools. And then once you have a good understanding of these tools, these operations, you start making projects. You start making your resume and you start preparing for those interviews. Now, will I be concluding my the entire talk on this particular slide? No, I'll be talking more that what exactly you should be learning in those months, what exactly you should be doing in those months. Let's get started with the first thing which every DevOps engineer should know is Linux. Linux is that operating system. Basically, it's an open source operating system which everyone is using for their apps. Obviously, Windows is also there. There is Unix, but the most favorite, the popular one is Linux. How to basically get into Linux? The commands, you should be knowing the commands, the Linux commands, how to move files, how to copy files, how to server copy, how to connect to different servers, how to launch a server, how to install the operating system, everything about that. You should be able to do scripting. When I say scripting, everyone has this question: I don't know coding. Can I become a DevOps engineer? You should at least know scripting so that basically, if you want to do something on your machine, there is a machine, you want to see if the storage is full or not, if my app can run on this machine or not. You need that kind of scripting. Please ignore this graphic designer founder thing. But these thing is the most important thing of Linux that you should be knowing: commands, scripting, how to install things on server. All these things you should be knowing. I hope you all are with me. You all are interested in Linux. If you all are interested in Linux, if you all are Linux user, write down Linux in the chat. I will be checking the chat right now. Can you just write down Linux in the chat? I hope you all can see me. Just write down Linux in the chat so that I know that you all are with me. Okay, I have Romelo who is saying yes. Again, DevOps is just a methodology. That's correct. Yeah. Okay. So Gaurav says while attending your session, we don't need a notebook. You simply put everything on mind. That's amazing. Amazing. Linux. Amazing. Let's get started again. Okay. As we are now ready with Linux, let's move to some code part. Now, everyone says, should I be learning how to write code? Not necessarily, but you should be knowing how to read code, how to know where the code is kept, how to get that code from a particular place. And that's where Git and GitHub plays a role. Now, someone will say that why GitHub, why not GitLab? Why GitLab, why not Bitbucket? So basically, the underlying technology here is Git, which is the version control system that allows you to give code management, that allows you to give version control, and allows you to collaborate with different teams. Now, think of this scenario: there is a developer who writes a code, writes beautiful code, and then he wants this code to be deployed somewhere. Now, how will he deploy this code? He will need some kind of, DevOps engineer to do that thing. And where will he keep the code? He will keep the code on GitHub or GitLab or Bitbucket. And that's why a DevOps engineer should know Git and GitHub. It is very important for code management. It's very important for collaboration. And if you know the basics, that's fine. Okay, that's fine. If you know how to push pull from a repository, how to create branches in Git, how to basically work with collaborative teams, merge the pull request, review the pull request. If you know these, it's fine. But it's good to have if you know the advanced Git and GitHub. You should know how to rebase a branch, how to fix or resolve the conflicts. You should know how to cherry pick a particular commit and then use that code. You should be knowing these things because developer knows these. Developer is using Git and GitHub, and he's using for you to give this code. At least you should be knowing all these things. This is very important. That's why once you complete Linux, you should be knowing advanced Git and GitHub. Then move to Docker, move to virtualization. Sir, it's not working on it's working on my machine, but it's not working on someone else's machine. Okay, no problem. I'll virtualize it. I'll containerize it. I'll create a box in which I'll run the operating system, I'll run the application, I'll run all the files which I need, and I'll basically run it wherever I want. I'll take this box, I run it on Windows, I take this box, I run it on Mac OS, I take this box, I run it on Linux. That box is created using Docker. So Docker allows you to run your app in any operating system in a virtual mode. It uses the host, it uses all of the properties of the host, and basically runs it in a virtual mode. It's a lightweight, basically, if your laptop is basically 16 GB RAM, has so many things working, it has a Node.js application as well, it has a Django application as well, it has a Python script running as well. No, you need Docker. You can compartmentalize it, you can containerize it, and run things separately. Okay, so write it in your notebook. As Gaurav said, you don't need a notebook, but anyways, just write these things. These are the essential tools you need to start your DevOps journey. Now, someone said that, hey, Docker has its limitations, has its issues. We can't use Docker in a production environment because Docker is just one container. If I'm running one box and that one box is getting reached by 100 people, and let's say the people are increased to 1000, that one box will fail. That's true. That's why you need a swarm of Docker, which is Docker Swarm. It's basically a group of containers running as a service, as a basically cluster, which allows you to scale, which allows you to basically heal Docker containers if there is a crash happening. So there is amazing technologies out there. All this is open source, free of cost, free to learn, free to use, and that's how you become a DevOps engineer. You get services in Docker Swarm. And also, let's say you have your front end, you have your back end, you have your database. How does these three connect to each other? There's a lot of question coming from my students that, hey, I have backend in Python, I have my front end in JavaScript, I have a database somewhere in MySQL. How will I connect all these? It's very simple. You use Docker Compose in order to make these containers talk to each other. And yeah, that's how easy things are if you know the right tools, if you know the right configurations, if you know the right stuff. Let's move to our amazing thing, which is known as CI/CD pipeline, or the Jenkins tool, which is a very, very popular used CI/CD tool. Before we move to CI/CD tool, I'll just take a pause for a minute and I'll just check your questions. I hope I hope everyone is enjoying the session. If yes, just drop anything in the chat. So Nitin says, what is Docker? Okay, that's a good question. So Docker is basically a tool. It's an open source tool which is used for virtualization. Now let's say your app, okay, you have an app which uses Python 3.7. It uses Django 3.2. It uses Node 12, something like that. Now, let's say there is some other operating system which does not have Node, does not have Python. What you can do, you can use Docker to create a virtual box. And in that box, you can basically install everything you need and just run on any machine. Okay, that's how simple it is. Okay. Okay, so amazing. So many questions, so many things are coming in the chat. Just keep the chat going. Just keep the chat going. I just love the energy that you all have. Let's get started with Jenkins. Now, what is Jenkins? Think of automation, that what these developers or these engineers did 10 years back. They started a server, they copied the code from somewhere from their local machine to that server, they extracted or unzipped all the files, they installed everything one by one, and then they opened the port or opened the server for the other traffic to access that application. You see how many things that they did. They copied the code from local machine. They unzipped it or extracted the code. They manually installed everything. They opened the server for the other side of the internet. Four things. What if we automate these four things? What if we have a pipeline in which we are building the software, we are testing the software, we are delivering or deploying the software, and all that happens in just a click? Isn't this exciting? That's what Jenkins does to you. Jenkins gives you a entire, framework where you can just put that, hey, this is the place where I want my code to be there. I'll just use this repository, this GitHub location. Okay. After this, this is the command I will be using to create a build or to run that application. And this is the location of the server where I want this app to run. So basically, I'm making a CI/CD pipeline. The DevOps logo, which I explained: code, build, test, deploy. So you can make a pipeline in which you are mentioning that, hey, this is the place from I'm getting the code. This is the place where I'm building the software. This is the place where I'm testing the software. This is the place where I'm deploying the software. So you're making a pipeline. Any step of this pipeline, you are designing it. And all you have to do is just sit like this and press a button. Everything is automated. And that's what Jenkins does for you. Jenkins is so powerful, you don't even have to click a button. You just have to make some triggers that if there is a code change, the developer changes the code, that will send some trigger, some warning to your Jenkins saying that, hey, there is a code change. Please run the application. Please update the application. And that also you can do using Jenkins. I hope Jenkins excites you about automation. Okay. Jenkins is quite impressive. And all these things, you should definitely check this out. Okay. These are things which every developer should also know. Every DevOps engineer should know that to is pakka. Okay. So yeah, you can make pipelines using Jenkins. Now, if we are talking about pipeline, we are talking about scalability. We are talking about so many services. There is something known as orchestration. Now you have your front end, you have your back end, you have your databases. You have so many things. You are a college student and you are making your front end, okay, in a Docker container. You're making a back end in a Docker container. You're making a database again in a Docker container. How these containers will communicate? Which container will run first? What if this container crashes? So everything is taken care of Kubernetes. You see the logo of Kubernetes? It's like a ship handle. So what is a container? It's basically those, you remember those ship which we have cargo. It has these boxes, right? Think of your applications as these container boxes. And there is the ship, the captain of the ship who is driving those containers. Think of it that way. And yes, that's why we need it. We need container orchestration. Kubernetes is a tool which was developed by Google. Google had so many services running here and there. So they needed a streamlined way of managing these services. And that's when they developed Kubernetes. And now it's open source, everyone is using it. I think if you know people like Kunal Kushwaha, he is talking a lot about Kubernetes, KubeConf, so many things in his videos, in his podcast, in his seminars. So this is something everyone should know. Okay, everyone should read about Kubernetes, should do hands on in Kubernetes. So yes, again a small break just to see where we are. I hope everyone is enjoying, I hope everyone is learning something new. If you are learning, if you are enjoying, just let me know in the chat. I am here to read your chat. I'm here to listen to you as well. So Sai Baba says, do DevOps engineer earn more than developers? So that's a difficult question because it depends on the companies as well. If the company is more cloud centric, where there's a lot of cloud related stuff going on. So in that case, the DevOps engineers earn more. If there's a company who is more on development and business logic centric, where it needs a lot of code, lot of logics, business logics to be in place, in that case developers are paid more. So it's a situation where the companies are responsible for the pay. So I can't comment on that. So yeah, I hope everyone is enjoying. So Gaurav is here saying that Jenkins is the kidney of DevOps CI. That's correct. That's good. So these all are my students. I am so happy to see you all, and I'm pretty sure you are happy to hear me speaking English for the first time. Yeah. What caused Kubernetes to overtake Docker in terms of popularity? Because Docker had its own limitations. Docker containers, once crashed, cannot revive back. In that case, Kubernetes had these extra abilities like auto scaling, auto healing. They had Helm charts for configurations. They have secrets. They have config maps. So many things which basically allowed Kubernetes to take over. And I hope that answers. Okay, let's get back. If you have any questions, please do let me know in the chat. And if you are enjoying this session, please do share it with your friends. Okay, if you have any questions, let's wait for some time. I know you must be getting bored with those PPTs. If you're getting bored with those PPTs, please let me know. Okay, so Gaurav says enjoying. I hope you are. What about others? So Abrar is here. Amazing. Gaurav is enjoying. So Abrar says Jenkins is very easy. The time I saw your Jenkins, all my concepts are clear within 20 minutes. Yes, I have videos on all these things. Amazing, amazing. On my YouTube channel, just check out Train with Shubham. So Nitin is saying not getting bored. That's amazing. So thank you so much, Nitin. Zabardast. Thank you so much. What are the microservice? How to use it in product? So microservice architecture is getting a lot of attraction nowadays. What is a microservice? Think of it like a system. Think of it like Instagram. Okay, think of it as Instagram. I'm pretty sure that you're watching me, and then there's Instagram reels also happening. Okay, so think of it like Instagram. What if Instagram, the entire system, was broken down into simple services? For example, the login on Instagram is a different service. The stories of Instagram is a different service. The posting reels, videos on Instagram is a different service. Think, what if these are small applications which are combined through APIs, through a network, and that's basically a microservices. So there are two types of things, two architectures: monolith and microservices. Monolith means one big system. Generally, we all in our colleges we made all monolith applications, but in real life, in jobs, we have microservices. And how to use in projects? We simply make small APIs, small servers, small services, and we just connect them. And Kubernetes is a key player in microservice architecture. I hope you all are with me. I know some terms can be out, can be like a bouncer to you, but you know your terms these terms can be overwhelming, but I am pretty sure if you note it down, if you study it well, they're like this, they're not so difficult. So Sushil says your English is far better. You're also, oh, thank you so much. I recently learned, fluent English. Okay, let's continue. Let's continue. We were at Kubernetes. Okay, now, as I mentioned, why Docker was left behind and Kubernetes went ahead? Because of these services, these features of Kubernetes. You can store passwords in secrets. You can store configuration in config maps. So there are so many things you can do in Kubernetes. You can store data in Kubernetes. So it allows you to scale really well. Auto scaling, auto healing, it allows really well. Now, my favorite part. Someone said in my comment, I recently released a video. I think, 1 hour back on my channel. And there was Shubham who commented that, hey, you are always talking about AWS. You didn't talk about Azure. Or there is one more guy who says you didn't talk about GCP. That's the only guy who says you didn't talk about GCP. But yeah, there is a lot of debate happening. Should we go on AWS? Should we go on Azure? Before that, let's understand what is this AWS, what is this Azure. Think about cloud services or cloud platforms. Now, what are these cloud platforms? Cloud platforms are basically these companies who have big farms, big cities of servers. Okay. If you just search AWS data warehouse or data storage facility or Facebook's Oregon, they have basically bought every city. And in that city, they have these servers. Now, server to server hota hai. Basically, server is a server. They have labeled it as AWS server. Someone has labeled it as Azure server. Someone has labeled it as GCP server. Now, what is AWS? Amazon Web Services. So, web service offered by Amazon. What is Azure? It's basically web services offered by Microsoft. What is GCP? Google Cloud Platform. The cloud platform offered by Google. If you see the underlying technologies, all are same. All have a server to which you connect and you use a virtual machine, or you use a EC2 in case of AWS, or a virtual machine in case of Azure, and a compute in case of GCP. Okay, so basically these are all, mostly the names are different but the underlying technologies are same. So let's talk about AWS. So DevOps on AWS is quite popular because AWS is getting a lot of popularity nowadays. Everyone is talking about AWS because it's more accessible, it's more, developer centric, DevOps engineer centric. Everyone is talking about AWS. There's a huge community. We recently had AWS Day and community workshops. So, what is the purpose of cloud? The purpose of cloud is basically to give you reliable machinery, reliable servers. Now, I have this laptop right now with me. I am running an application. It's a 16 GB laptop and it can go out of memory anytime. It has a 500 GB SSD and it will basically fill anytime. In that case, I need an auto scaling machine. Who will give me those auto scaling things? Who will give me on demand servers? Who will give me on demand computing? I want, bigger machine, 56 GB, 92 GB RAM. I want 500 GB storage. I want 7 terabytes of storage. Who will give me that? You rent it from AWS. And that's how you build infrastructure. You provision infrastructure. Okay. But AWS offers more than 200 services. For DevOps engineer, what are required? So compute, storage, and automation. If you do all these things, I think these are more than enough. For compute, you should be knowing AWS EC2. For storage, you should be knowing S3, RDS, DynamoDB, DocumentDB. Okay, I hope you all writing down all these. Automation, there are code pipeline, code star, and things like that which we can use. CloudWatch, cloud formation, so many things which you can use. But yes, a DevOps engineer should know AWS or Azure or GCP, any cloud platform. If you know, they allow you in interview. They say that okay, you know any cloud platform, good to go. I specialize in AWS. Okay, that's why I'm very passionate about AWS. Okay, I hope everyone is with me. If you are listening to me, if you are listening to me, let me know which cloud platform you know about. Is it AWS? Is it Azure? Is it GCP? Is it Google Cloud? Sorry, is it DigitalOcean? Is it, I don't know. How many clouds do you know? Okay, just let me know in the chat which cloud platform do you use. So Sai uses Azure, which is amazing. Jim Yari, oh my god. AWS GCP, nice body. Okay, amazing. So yeah, it's good that you all are using these services. Okay, Mohan, again Mohan is a student from, okay, AWS. Hiram, AWS, that's great. Deepika is using AWS and Azure both. That's great. Raja is using AWS Zindabad. Amazing. Superb. So yeah, I hope you all are aware about these things. So Deva is using AWS. That's amazing. Superb. Amazon EKS is best. Yes. Basically, EKS, which Gaurav is talking about, is Elastic Kubernetes, basically. So, how do you run these Kubernetes instance on cloud? So, you have dedicated servers for this, okay, dedicated services for this, okay. Let's jump back to our, you know, I hope the slides are not boring. I keep it very, very clean. Even in all of my courses, all of my videos, I keep it very premium, okay. So, no boring slides. Okay, let's talk about the most trending thing on the internet in DevOps, which is Terraform. Now, what is Terraform? Everyone is talking about, ki, hey, do you know Terraform? Please make videos on Terraform. Please make projects on Terraform. And yes, I did. I made an entire playlist on Terraform. You should check it out. Infrastructure as code. Now, think of this. There is a person who is going to a shop, and he's saying that, hey, please give me two this thing, five pen, seven books, or something like this. And now think of the DevOps engineer who is going to that shop or going to AWS and saying, give me two EC2 instances, three buckets, four databases, and things like that. Can he make a mistake in those numbers if he's doing it manually? Yes, they can. Because, for example, he's having a bad day, and from two, he said, okay, give me 20 machines. Or five, he said, okay, give me two machines. That there is a chance of making mistakes if you do it manually. What if you write a code for that? What if you tell that, okay, number of instances, this, the name of the instance is this, the group is this, the service is this, and you write it on a code and you save it. Every time you run the code, you will get the same output. There is zero chances of making a mistake. And that is when infrastructure as code came into picture. And that's where HashiCorp developed Terraform. What is Terraform? Terraform is basically a tool given by HashiCorp. It uses HashiCorp configuration language, which is basically infrastructure as code. And it basically gives you a entire infrastructure in just code, just simple JSON like code. And you just write that code that, oh, this is my resource name, AWS EC2 instance. How many instances I want? Five. It will basically provision five instances for you. There is a tool, you can write it down in your notebook, or you can write it down that, hey, I will go to Train with Shubham's YouTube channel. There's a playlist on Terraform. I'll just watch all the videos, and that's how I make a project on Terraform. Okay, it allows you to scale, it allows you to make less errors, it allows your infrastructure to be production ready. So yeah, that's infrastructure as code for you, Terraform. There is an alternative called your cloud formation. Now, infrastructure as code can also be used in configurations. Think that you have your server, entire server, or let's say 10 servers, need to be updated with Java version. Now, if you go manually, okay, install Java, and then in third server you fell sleepy, install C. Okay, everything goes wrong. You can have tools like Ansible, Chef, so that your configurations are managed. That is also infrastructure as code. For provisioning, you have Terraform. For configuration management, you have Ansible, Chef. Okay. So yeah, please keep writing down these things. These are DevOps essentials for you. Okay. Now, so many servers running, so many services running, so many things happening, so many, there is a lot of things happening. So many errors will come, so many logs will be generated, so many emails will be there, alerts will be there, so many things will be happening all around you. How will you monitor your apps? How will you see if there are runtime issues or not? How you will see that if your app is working correctly or not? You need one monitor, right? One place where you can watch everything. Grafana, Prometheus, they basically give you that automated way of getting the runtime issues, getting the logs. You can connect. Grafana is basically a monitoring tool. Imagine that, you see that hospital, there is this heartbeat indicator, that ECG. The patient and that heartbeat indicator is connected. Okay. And that monitor shows you what is happening. Okay. Think of that. Your applications are all those patients, all those beds, and they are connected to that machine. And on that machine, doctor sees that, okay, this patient is doing well. Okay. This is going well. Okay. So that is what monitoring is. Okay. Runtime issues are detected and, caught using Grafana. Don't think of a patient and doctor example. I know it was dark, but it's fine. Okay. That's the only thing that coming in my mind. Okay. I hope you all are enjoying. Again, I'll take a small pause and I'll read your comments. Okay. So many comments. Okay. I hope you all are enjoying. I hope you all are learning something. So Karthik is here and saying hi Shubham. Hi Karthik. Hi. How do we develop DevOps projects? Do we need developed code for that now? I think in order to develop DevOps project, I recently I keep developing DevOps projects. So if you want, I can show you. So if you go to my channel and if you go to live, I recently developed a live DevOps project for your resume. It's a Jenkins CI/CD GitHub integration project. If you go to playlist, you will find basically AWS projects, Terraform projects, DevOps projects, so many things. So yeah, all you have to do is look for these channels. And let's get back to our presentation. Okay, I hope you're now in a pipeline that what all tools, what all essential tools you need for DevOps. Let's do a quick recap. Okay, let's do a quick recap. You start with Linux, the commands and scripting. You then go to GitHub for code managing. Okay. You then go for advanced Git and GitHub. You do Docker for virtualization, containerization. Then you understand, okay, there needs to be something else. You add Docker Swarm, you add Docker Compose. Then you understand the CI CD part of DevOps, the Jenkins. You understand the container orchestration by Kubernetes. You understand the data in Kubernetes. You understand cloud. You understand infrastructure. You understand monitoring. Once you do all of these things, what you should be doing? What interview preparation I will be doing once I know all these things? I create my resume. I create my LinkedIn profile. I cold email to HR recruiters. I create post. I create projects and I post it on GitHub, post it on LinkedIn. I attract more people. I attract more HR. I attract more, technical recruiters, company CEOs, CTOs by my skills. So many skills you learned. You learned so many skills which are needed for becoming a DevOps engineer. And with that, you create your LinkedIn profile, you create your resume, you create a DevOps engineer profile, and you go in the market. That is how you get prepared for your winter interviews, winter interview preparation, the topic of this entire, you know, big event from Geek for Geeks. What all things you should be doing in your winter interview. So yeah, learn these tools, learn these topics, make projects on them, make your LinkedIn profile stand out from the crowd, make your resume in such a way that everyone is asking that, hey, how did you make this resume, how did you add these projects, how did you make it look so amazing, from where did you get so many skills. So learn about this, dive deeper, build a profile of a DevOps engineer. If you want to become a DevOps engineer, think like a DevOps engineer. Is this a process which I can automate? Yes. Is this a tool which I can use Docker or Kubernetes for? Yes. If someone is using manual, containers, manual instances, can I use Terraform there for that? Yes. What if there is, no monitoring? I don't know where is the logs. Can I use Grafana for that or Prometheus for this? Yes. think like a DevOps engineer, make projects, make proof of work, make your work stand out. Let's say you have a proof of work, you have three projects. One is covering GitHub, Jenkins integration, one is covering Kubernetes, one is covering Terraform, Grafana. You are good to go. Just need three projects. 3 months, three projects. I think that's, quite easy to do. How many of you think that this is easy to do? How many of you think that this is easy to do? 3 months, three projects. How many of you think that we can do this? So says after plan, when it's go for apply Terraform, be like ika bana diyo bawal. क्या बात है. Superb, superb, superb. Terraform is infrastructure where we write the infra of all services. That's good. Terraform be like, okay, let me do this for you. You just write the TF script and you put Terraform play and watch the show and chill. Amazing. I love this crowd. I am amazed by this crowd. How many of you are the Train with Shubham viewers? I just, love you all. Superb. Superb. So three is enough. That's good. Yes, it is achievable. I like the confidence. I like the confidence which people have that yes, we can make projects, we can learn the tools, we can do that, and yes, it's very much possible. Superb, superb, amazing. So Shailesh says, how many projects will you take, sir? And for us, how it will be? So I think Shailesh, you're talking about the course, which is DevOps Zero to Hero course. So yes, I am launching my course called DevOps Zero to Hero. It's my website, trainwithshubham.com. So yes, it's starting tomorrow, and I will be taking many projects, more than four projects for sure. So yeah, you will be getting a lot of projects and things in my course. Enough of promotion. Okay, let's talk about what if you do everything. You just put it on LinkedIn every day. Okay, be it a habit, make it a habit. Put every day. Put your things on your resume. Okay, put your projects on your resume. You put it out in the public. Post it on LinkedIn. Post it on Naukri. Post it on Angel List. Everywhere, and you start preparing for interview questions. What all things you have done? You're good with Linux, you're good with tools, you're good with your resume and LinkedIn. Now what you are doing, you're preparing for those interview questions, and that is all you have to do as a part of DevOps essential in order to get a DevOps job. I hope you all liked this session. I hope you all enjoyed. You all got something out of whatever I said. And I thank you all for watching me. Do subscribe to my channel, Train with Shubham, and check out my website, trainwithshubham.com. And I hope that's all from my side. I hope you all enjoyed. Superb, superb, amazing. I think that's all from my side. I hope you all enjoyed the session. If you have any questions, you can write it in the chat. I'll be happy to answer all of your questions. Okay, so very easy. Superb. Everyone's saying very easy. Amazing. Yeah, that's all from my side. Thank you so much. Hi, Prakash.
Thank you, Shubham. That was a very, very informative session, and I was there and watching people asking questions and you answering every question so patiently. And there are so many people from coming from your channel over here, and that is so great to see. I hope and I do believe that a lot of questions have been answered. And if not, you can definitely connect with Shubham on LinkedIn or go to his channel and watch his videos as well. And to add cherry on top of the cake, we at Geeks are also coming up with a course on DevOps. And currently, we also have a free bootcamp on DevOps. So I think the link has been shared, and I would just like to share it with you all. Uh, I hope you all can see the screen. So this is the free DevOps bootcamp. You can basically register for this bootcamp and just see the course content, and there will be a paid course also, a live course which will be coming after a month. So we have industries expert on board who are basically working on this course. So you can register for this course for free and just start your DevOps journey as well. And yes, and Shubham is there to help you all. And the link is there. We have pinned the link. I will also share the link again in the chat, so you can basically uh, just go and register yourself. Just hurry up and register yourself. So yeah, um, and thank you once again, Shubham, for this amazing session. We hope to do more sessions with you like this, and we hope you come again and have these amazing sessions. Thank you. This is from both from our side. Thank you guys for joining. Have a great evening.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much. Thank you so much for having me. It's a
Thank
pleasure.
you. Bye. Bye, Shubham.
Bye bye.